Since its pioneering days with films like Tron, computer-generated imagery, or CGI, has evolved from an unconventional experiment to a vital cornerstone of modern filmmaking. My name is Nathan DiVito, and I am a film and television major primarily focused on directing, scriptwriting, acting, and editing. This usually comes to a head in my personal projects centered around tokusatsu content. Tokusatsu translating to Japanese special effects. However, my interests extend beyond that niche. I'm deeply fascinated in film as a whole, exploring its unique blend of storytelling, visual artistry, and emotional resonance. I'm drawn to how film merges technical craftsmanship with human expression, using light, sound, performance, and editing to create experiences that transcend language and culture. Whether through the heightened reality of tokusatsu or more grounded narratives, the artistry of filmmaking ultimately depends on how effectively it brings the imagination to life. In that sense, understanding the tools that make such illusions possible becomes essential. The film industry today relies heavily on various types of effects to bring stories to life, and it's important to understand the distinctions between them. This brings us to the world of VFX, practical effects, and CGI. According to PixFlow, each technique has its own purpose and application, whether it's adding digital enhancements, creating realistic computer-generated elements, or using practical effects on set. VFX, or visual effects, generally refers to post-production manipulation of footage to add elements that weren't originally there. Practical effects involves using real-world techniques on set to achieve visual results, such as explosions or makeup. CGI, or computer-generated imagery, involves creating visuals from scratch using computer software. CGI has a rich history, starting with simple computer graphics in the 1970s and evolving into hyper-realistic visuals we see today. Initially, CGI was viewed with awe and wonder, but now it's an integral part of filmmaking, though its overuse can sometimes be a point of contention among viewers. The journey of CGI began in the latter half of the 20th century, fueled by pioneering experiments in computer graphics. Early applications were certainly rough, but groundbreaking nonetheless. In 1976, Future World included a computer-generated hand and face, a feat achieved through complex programming and rendering on the mainframe computers. This marked a pivotal moment, showcasing the potential of CGI in filmmaking. Tron, released in 1982, further advanced the use of CGI. The film extensively used computer-generated imagery to construct its digital environment, though it still incorporated traditional animation methods. The creation of light cycles in the film's landscapes required significant computational power and innovative techniques, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. These advancements not only demonstrated the creative possibilities of CGI, but also spurred further development in computer technology and animation techniques. The impact of these early films extended beyond their immediate success. They inspired a generation of filmmakers and computer scientists to explore the potential of CGI further. The techniques and technologies developed for these projects laid the groundwork for the sophisticated CGI we see in modern cinema. As computer power increased and software became more refined, CGI's role in filmmaking expanded exponentially, transforming how stories are told and visualized on screen. Professor William Card notes, computer-generated visual effects in late 20th century cinema were a marvelous technological novelty. For many Hollywood films, these effects were central to attracting paying audiences. Of course, at that time, the only way to really see these effects was on an actual cinema screen. VHS video at standard definition was an inadequate second best. The marvelous technological novelty of CGI was a significant draw for audiences, making it a central element in Hollywood's efforts to attract viewers. The impact was amplified by the fact that the full experience of these effects was only truly appreciable on the big screen, where the higher the resolution and immersive environment could fully showcase a visual spectacle. The limitations of VHS tapes, the dominant home video format of the time, meant the intricate details and visual fidelity of CGI were significantly diminished, making the theatrical experience essential for fully appreciating these groundbreaking effects. This exclusivity heightened the appeal of seeing these films in theaters, turning CGI into a major box office draw. Card's quote also underscores the rapid pace of technological change. While CGI was revolutionary, its accessibility was limited by the available technology for home viewing. But in the late 20th century, the cinema screen was the undisputed champion for showcasing CGI's visual splendor. This era marked a unique moment in film history, where the technological limitations paradoxically enhanced the theatrical experience and made CGI an even more potent force in attracting audiences. On the other hand, practical effects have been an integral part of filmmaking since its inception, with early examples dating back to the late 19th century. Over the years, practical effects have been used to create a wide range of memorable movie moments. Puppets have been used to bring fantastical creatures to life in films like Jurassic Park, where the realistic dinosaurs were a marvel of engineering. Star Wars, which used puppets in different costumes to create its iconic aliens, and Labyrinth, which featured a variety of imaginative creatures brought to life through Jim Henson's puppetry and animatronics. Early horror movies also pushed the boundaries of what was possible with practical effects. The Thing featured gruesome and terrifying creature transformations, while Alien created a sense of dread and suspense through its claustrophobic sets and realistic alien designs. The Blob showcased a seemingly unstoppable monster that consumed everything in its path, using practical effects to create a truly terrifying cinematic experience. According to Jonathan Scott of Studio Binder, one of the most popular forms of practical effects are creature effects. These effects in horror are nearly as old as cinema itself, with classics such as Frankenstein and Dracula. Creature effects are often made from things such as latex, foam, or other easily malleable materials. Movies like Alien and The Blob are examples of some of these long-standing effects that were developed so long ago. One of the main advantages of practical effects is that they elicit genuine reactions from actors, as they interact with real props and sets. This can lead to more believable performances and a more visually appealing final product, as opposed to CGI. However, practical effects also have their drawbacks. As Studio Binder notes, it's well known in the industry that practical effects can be more expensive and time-consuming than CGI, and there's less room for error. Once a prop is built or a set is constructed, it can be difficult or impossible to make changes, making practical effects a high-risk, high-reward endeavor. The film industry's shift from practical effects to CGI has been significantly influenced by budgetary constraints and technological advancements. As movie budgets tighten, CGI often emerges as a more cost-effective solution, further propelled by the rise of technology that enables increasingly realistic and visually stunning results. This transition, however, has sparked debate about authenticity and longevity of visual effects. As Tyler James from the channel Nerdstalgic highlights,
Buster Keaton, Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, Jackie Chan, they all have the same effect. They're real. The human eye can look at them and understand the magic on screen.
This sentiment underscores the tangible connection audiences feel with practical effects. The video also acknowledges the groundbreaking role of films like Tron, The Abyss, and Star Trek IV. From a storytelling perspective, anything was quickly becoming possible, leading to the feasibility of hordes of apes on horseback running through an overgrown Los Angeles in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and the creation of characters like Spider-Man, swinging through the New York skyline. However, the choice of CGI over practical effects has not always been successful. For example, the Star Wars prequels relied heavily on CGI, which, in retrospect, has aged poorly and detracted from the overall quality of the films. Similarly, CGI was used extensively in the Lord of the Rings franchise to create large-scale battle scenes and populate environments with extras. While CGI offers advantages such as lower cost, greater flexibility, and the ability to create visuals impossible with practical effects, it also has drawbacks. CGI can age poorly and often lacks tactile quality and realism of practical effects. Ultimately, the decision to use practical effects or CGI depends on the specific needs and goals of the project, weighing the benefits of cost and creative possibilities against the value of tangible realism. The demanding nature of VFX work extends beyond mere creativity. It significantly impacts the personal lives and well-being of artists. The expectation of long hours and tight deadlines often leads to burnout and stress, affecting not only their work quality, but also their overall health. According to Gwilym Mumford of The Guardian, overtime is an expectation in VFX work. As our animator stated, the working regulations that are in place for other Hollywood workers aren't often applied to VFX artists. That, in part, is down to an absence of history of strong organized labor like in other Hollywood professions. This lack of regulation and organized labor creates an environment where VFX artists are often subjected to intense pressure and extended work hours without adequate compensation or protection. This situation is further compounded by the project-based nature of VFX contracts, which often leaves artists in a precarious position, fearing job loss if they push back against unreasonable demands. The absence of a strong union presence, unlike in other sectors of Hollywood, mean that VFX artists have limited avenues for collective bargaining and advocacy. As a result, many endure grueling schedules and sacrifice personal time, leading to a high turnover rate in the industry. The long-term effects of such an unsustainable work environment can include chronic stress, mental health issues, and a diminished quality of life, highlighting the urgent need for systemic changes to protect the well-being of VFX artists. Ultimately, addressing these issues requires a multifaceted approach, including advocating for better labor practices, promoting mental health awareness, and fostering a culture that values work-life balance. It's essential for industry stakeholders to recognize that the well-being of VFX artists is not only a moral imperative but also crucial for long-term sustainability and success of the industry. By prioritizing the health and happiness of its workforce, the VFX industry can create a more equitable and fulfilling environment, attracting and retaining top talent while continuing to deliver groundbreaking visual effects. CGI has undeniably transformed the landscape of filmmaking, providing unprecedented capabilities to craft spectacular visual effects and enabling filmmakers to realize their most ambitious visions. From creating entirely new worlds in movies like Avatar, to seamlessly integrating creatures like a tiger in films like Life of Pi, CGI has expanded the boundaries of cinematic storytelling. Moreover, its application in de-aging actors, as seen in The Irishman and Captain Marvel, highlights its versatility and potential for enhancing narrative depth. However, the pervasive use of CGI is not without its own pitfalls. Over-reliance on digital effects can lead to a visual fatigue, a lack of realism, and a sense of detachment from the story. As noted by Yana of Genes, the trend that gives confidence is bringing a union of CGI and practical effects. In this case, CGI does not replace elements of a real world but complements them. This strategy was applied in films such as Mad Max Fury Road, within which CGI was used to augment real stunts in real life without losing their dynamic character. This quote underscores the importance of finding a harmonious balance between CGI and practical effects, where digital enhancements serve to elevate, rather than replace, the tangible elements of filmmaking. Furthermore, the YouTube channel Corridor Crew's experiment of the Chinatown nose-cutting scene highlights the effectiveness of combining CGI with practical effects. This demonstrates how the hybrid approach can enhance realism and impact. Towards the end of the video, after combining a mixture of both the shot involving practical effects and the shot involving CGI, Adam Savage states,
"At this point, with the kind of stuff that John Knoll and the team at Mandalorian is doing, practical effects are also lowering in their cost and what it takes to implement them." So, I think that what you guys ended up doing, that's the best take, which is that hybrid of the physical and the digital, is exactly what's happening in the industry. The institutional knowledge is now coming full circle to encompass both.
By strategically integrating CGI with practical techniques, filmmakers can harness the strengths of both methods, resulting in a more authentic, engaging, and visually stunning final product. Ultimately, the judicious use of CGI in conjunction with practical effects represents the most promising path forward for contemporary filmmaking, ensuring that visual effects serve the story rather than overshadow it. Reflecting on the history of CGI and its reception alongside the timeless appeal of practical effects, it's clear that digital technologies revolutionized cinema. The replacement of practical effects in movies is a testament to CGI's power, yet the overuse of CGI in movies has sparked debates about authenticity. Ultimately, CGI has had a positive impact on the film industry, but when used too often, it can be harmful. Echoing the sentiments of his fellow filmmakers, director Mark Murphy states, "While it has undoubtedly expanded the storytelling capabilities of filmmakers, it has also led to an over-reliance on visual spectacle, often at the expense of character development and narrative depth. As directors, we must constantly remind ourselves that special effects alone do not make a compelling story." What Mark Murphy is getting at here is that while CGI has its downsides, it overall does not spell the end for the film industry. Instead, it calls for a thoughtful integration of CGI with traditional techniques, ensuring that technology enhances rather than overshadows the art of storytelling. Despite the concerns, the future of film remains bright, with the potential for CGI to elevate cinematic experiences when wielded with creativity and restraint.